So, do you feel good enough? In our society today, I think it's endemic that both men and women don't feel good enough. And why is this such a bad thing? So I'm only going to speak about two aspects of what can happen when we don't feel good enough. The first one is that we become very driven. And I'm not talking about being highly motivated or striving for excellence. I'm talking about excessively driven because we don't feel good enough. So therefore we drive ourselves harder and harder and harder at work, at home, with our friends, with our family. Nothing we try is good enough. So we carry on and on to the detriment of ourselves. And that last part of it is what's valuable, to the detriment of ourselves. Okay, so I'm not saying being driven is a bad thing. I'm saying being driven is a bad thing when actually it's to the detriment of our lives, our mental well-being, our physical and emotional and spiritual well-being. Okay, the second and totally opposite to being driven, one of the things that we do if we don't feel good enough is we excessively people please, because we want people to know that we're good enough. So we will bend over backwards to make sure that we try harder, we're the best friend, the best sister, the best daughter, the best worker, and whatever anybody wants, we absolutely will do. And once again, it's to the detriment of ourselves. We have very blurry boundaries. We don't know where we stop and somebody else begins. We become totally enmeshed in their lives. So these are only two out of many bad things that can happen as a result of not feeling good enough. So what I'm going to leave you with is that there will always be people who are far better than you and far worse than you, and we need to accept that. And lastly, that comparison, when we compare ourselves with others, comparison is the thief of joy. So let's not compare ourselves with others. Let's just be our own very best self. Thank you so much for listening.